Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including four-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a four-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
Three-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a three-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare two laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Hello and welcome as the Apex Racing League Touring Car of Britain series returns live and exclusive here on Apex Racing TV. This week sees the championship return to Knockhill for round 6. Scotland's only permanent racing facility, it's cemented itself as one of the more popular venues in the United Kingdom. Thanks to its short but exciting layout, it encourages plenty of action. I'm Tim Cox, we have Samuli Kumo in the production booth, but right now I'm joined as always by our resident South African commentator here at Apex, Johan Carinas. Of course, last time we visited here, we ran the reverse circuit, and as the more eagle-eyed viewers may well have spotted already, today we run on the international version. Of course, last time out we ran a slightly different format as well, with 3 15-minute races. However, today we're running 2 25-minute races. And of course, it turned it last time out, Johan, it turned a little bit into the Will Redford show. He had 2 wins from 3, and his only other race that he didn't finish with a win in, he still bagged 3rd on the podium. Who do you think is going to come out victorious today?
It's going to be a big mix-up, Tim, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing what happens. We've been seeing a bit of a trailer going on screen for us to see what's to come in the race. Cars just going flying everywhere. So while Will Redford is definitely the favorite for this race, it's all going to depend on who gets through this race in a clean manner. So definitely don't discount the other drivers. Shirkov is also looking good and on form at the moment. Of course, Will Eatwell always lurking there in the background, and Darius Neidhart. We all know that he can also drive the wheels of his car. For the AM category, I'm actually a bit more interested because while the pro drivers are going to be driving at the front, it's a bit easier for them to avoid the chaos. The AM drivers are actually going to have to navigate it in those first few laps. So depending on how cleanly you get past some of the pro drivers having a mishap, the better for you later on in the race. So I don't know exactly what the AMs will do. But yeah, looking good.
It's definitely going to be an absolute firecracker of a round, even in this championship that's, well, it's really delivered on action and excitement. Now, we've got qualifying just underway. That's around about halfway through. Redford topping the Chinese sheets once more by 0.3 a second over Shirkov. Meanwhile, an AM driver, Gill, up there on the second round of the grid, and it's going to be interesting to see how the Audis get on. Of course, they're always fast starting, and definitely crucial here at Knockhill as well. Now, well, we've got qualifying just starting to round out. Let's give a quick mention of the sponsors that we've got for this series. First up, there's Virtual Racing School. If you're looking to improve your on-track performance with 50+ data packs for road and oval racing. They have setups, track guides, data analysis software, and one-on-one coaching. And then we've got SDK Gaming, which adds a live HUD to iRacing. You can show timing towers and half-realistic boxes and use it to broadcast your leagues with, like we do for all of our broadcasts here at Apex Racing TV. You can also use it with its enhanced fuel calculator to alter your team strategy on the fly with the most accurate live timing software available on iRacing. And then finally, we've got Apex Racing Academy. They have 29 data packs, setup, track guides, integration with one of our other sponsors, VRS Virtual Racing School, weekly group coaching sessions, and much, much more. As you just see, rounding out nicely, Redford just sets a new fastest time there, a 50.988, an absolute flyer. And the first driver into the 50-second mark, everyone else in the 51s. And, well, as always, I mean, it's always to be expected, Johan, with such a small circuit, that you're going to have close together times, but my golly, once again, especially around that midfield battle with a second covering basically 9th all the way down to 21st.
It just spells trouble for that first lap in the race with all of these cars so close together, but I'm liking it, I'm enjoying it. And when you spoke about VRS, you spoke a bit earlier that you actually participated in the IMSA race here a bit earlier. And I actually wanted to ask you, do you think it's a bit busier now with the touring cars than it was with the IMSA, or was IMSA just absolute complete chaos?
It wasn't too bad, to be fair. I know a lot of people have shied away from it this week. However, it's definitely evocative of great action, and the LMP2s, I mean, VRS, they've done an absolute cracking job with their setup. And you can really launch the prototype across the curves, which is completely counterintuitive. But I mean, we've got so many cars out on track here today. It's always tight and a bit of a tussle anyway, even with the touring cars. But with around about a 30-car grid that we're expecting here, it's definitely going to be tricky to, you know, find some space out on track. However, having said that, Johan, who could forget when we visited here last time? We had 2 wides. That was just average. That was mundane. We had 3 wides. I think even at one point we had a 4 wide as well. It's going to be tight. I think it's going to be really, really treacherous at times, especially in those opening laps. I mentioned so many people so close together right now, and definitely think the track seems to slow up a little bit, and drivers just struggle to find some space out on track. And it doesn't look like anyone's improving too much. Having said that, Scott Smith just heads up into 5th. Second of all the AM drivers, he's going to be starting on the 3rd row of the grid as things stand at the moment, but only 2 thousandths of a second quicker than Maroney and the Audi fellow AM driver. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, if you just look there, Gill, Smith, Maroney, and Glashkov separated by around about half a tenth, 500ths of a second. I mean, that's just uncomprehendable. Just how close and tight things are out there right now.
Yeah, no, it's just I'm trying to calculate the kind of sub gaps between the drivers in my head, but it's just too close. I just wanted to point out the gentleman we're looking at on screen at the moment, although we switched over just now. In position number 5, we've got a gentleman called Smith. Now, you're not seeing his first name. That is Scott Smith, a Scottish driver driving on the Scottish circuit. So I'm actually quite curious to see how this evening will pan out for him. Now that we're racing the right way around. And at the moment, we've got Kindness sitting out in 8th position, and we saw a bit of words going on between the drivers just beforehand. I think some nerves are starting to fly about in the area, especially with all of these cars on the track and the tight battles that will inevitably be happening. It's going to be an interesting one to see if someone flinches or accidentally causes something, as Briggs jumps into 4th position. So 4 British drivers in the top 5, and then a Scottish driver in 6th place as well. So looking good for the home crowd.
Definitely, as you say, a Scot called Scott at a Scottish track. It's got all the right connotations about it, hasn't it? And let's just see Kindness there. He's currently in 9th place, as you mentioned. A great lap from Briggs, elevating himself all the way up through the grid to 4th place. That's 2nd row. Currently Hyundai, they've got locking out the front row with Eatwell in his Honda, the only car nestled in amongst them. Briggs, a fellow Hyundai driver as well. However, just it'll be well worth keeping one eye out for when we go green and head off down to the first corners, just to keep an eye on the Audis. The Audi incredibly quick off the start line, and we've got 3 of them right up there. Gill, Maroney, and Glazkov. It's going to be interesting to see how they get on, and as mentioned, it's going to be tight. And drivers have already had to have their elbows out during this championship anyway. It's just the competitive nature of it, and of course the touring cars do invoke being able to take a bit of a bump and a grind without incurring any incident points. And I think today, Johan, it's not just going to be elbows out. I think the elbows are going to be fully sharpened to the max as well for drivers to try and jockey the way through and make up positions.
Yeah, and as you were saying that, I just had a look. I think it's the first time in a race 1 where we've got 3 AM drivers next to one another. So usually you'd get one of the AM drivers with an incredible qualifying time, and then they'd be sitting with a buffer of pro drivers behind them, kind of protecting them on their first lap. I think this might be the first time that we're really going to see the AM drivers come out swinging as well. I do know I pay a lot of attention to the AM drivers, but that's because that's where I usually sit on the grid, so I have a bit of added sympathy for them. Not sympathy, admiration. Although I was just saying that David Gill taking 5th position, knocking down Glazkov, and getting a little bit of a buffer behind him.
Definitely, and well, I'm exactly the same with yourself. I'll be in and amongst the AMs as well, and you know what they say, those who can't do it talk about it, and that's why we're up in the commentary booth. But let's just see, qualifying coming to an end now. Be able to bring you up your official grid here for race 1. Of course, race 2 will take the grid will form for the race results with the top 12 inverted. But right now, here's your grid for race 1. It's Redford on pole with Sherkov alongside the company. Eatwell and Briggs make up your 2nd row. Gill, the highest of the AM drivers, in 5th. He's got Glazkov for company. The 4th row is Scott Smith with Maroney. Fellow Scott Kindness starting behind Smith with Darius Neidhart for company. 6th row is Rigeri and Hutchinson. And then we've got Lewandowski and Repetea on your 6th, 7th row. Morrison and Collishaw make up the next row, with Manners and Gudici. Maniti and Redford taking up to 20th. There we've got Roberto Di Filippis. He's got Jay Walsh with him for company. Paul Joseph Klist. This has got Jason Nevry up to 24th. Then it's Ganelli and Kieran Smart well down the order from where we normally expect to see him. Got fellow Track Scotland drivers Win Ness just behind him in 27th, with Coleman, Ward and Brown rounding out your 30-car field here at Knockhill in round 6 of the Apex Racing League Touring Car of Britain series. And just waiting for the last few drivers to take to the grid before we head off here. Down the run down to turn 1. It's going to be tight down into Duffers Dip. We saw plenty of action last time out. Of course, that was the reverse version of the circuit. However, with today running the normal standard clockwise international version of the circuit, it's going to be tight into that entry point, and expect to see a couple of cars off track undoubtedly as people try and make up positions early on. Waiting for the last few drivers to take to the grid. Before we head off racing, you see Redford for Hyundai on pole there with Sherkov, fellow Hyundai driver alongside. A few drivers revving the engine, the Sound the dump valve within the turbos kicking off. Just getting prepared for the excitement. Of course, the Honda of Eatwell lurking behind. What can he do? Here come the lights. Let's get ready to go racing at Knockhill, and we are away. And Shirkov not getting the best of start, but look at Redford, and here comes Eatwell. He's going to get the jump on all of them, up into second place. There's a stream of cars coming out of the pit lane, but into turn one, Shirkov, he's lost 4 places. Sorry, 3 places, down into 5th. Great start from Gill in the Audi. We said that they could be quick off the start, and Gill really pushing that through, up into 4th, leading in Am right now as they come through the chicane on the run down to through Brabham, up to Clark. And Redford extending that gap out in front. He's got a blinding start, but you should see everyone streaming through Clark Corner on the run down now, Railway Straight. This is more of a kink than a straight, really, as we're going to come hard onto the brakes into Taylor's. A little bit of contact there between Neidhart and Maroney, just trying to find a way past, but the Honda needs to be careful right now of Kindness, because he's really under threat from Maroney, and they're going to drag it out across the start-finish straight. And we're going to have the Audi and Maroney on the inside into turn 1. Can he get the move done? Kindness just has to yield a little bit there, and, well, a relatively incident-free, I think, opening lap here.
Yeah, no, that was superb from all of the drivers. And if you just looked at the close quarters that they were driving in, started driving all the way. Shirokov, I don't know exactly what happened to him there. I'm so glad that someone didn't ram him from the rear. He came under pressure from Smith a bit of a while back. Now Briggs with Gill on his rear. Briggs running to the inside to defend, and that is going to be Gill slowing a bit down with that outside line. Now Shirokov is going to be sitting closer to him. Scott Smith smelling an opportunity at the back of Shirokov, so he's going to just stay tucked, see what he can find, what opportunity he can find from the driver in front of him. You can just see how close those cars really get into the inside, a bit of a look, and he's going to back out. That looks like Briggs losing a position to Gill in front as he goes off the track.
He just ran wide, and he does once again, and that's going to allow Shirkov and Smith through. Smith took right up onto the rear bumper of Shirkov, and now Briggs is in a whole world of pain, because here comes Glashkov, and there's Neidhart right behind him. They're dragging out to try and close right up onto the back. Neidhart seizing the opportunity, has managed to get past Glashkov, and he looks like he's going to pick Briggs' pocket as well as they come through Taylor's. And now it's Briggs versus Glashkov side by side. Hyundai versus Audi, the Audi on the inside there of Glashkov, and this could well be another place for Glashkov. Is Briggs going to hold on round the outside? And no! Glashkov's spun, and he's gone across the track, and somehow everyone just about manages to avoid him there, Johan.
I think there was a 10 on the pucker factor scale there, with Kindness nearly losing the entire front suspension of his car, but absolute horrible position for Glashkov to be in. And now Klist also taking avoiding action. Oh, massive crash.
That's Lewandowski. Wow, I saw the Audi coming flying through. I'm not too sure who that was. Coman came into contact with Lewandowski. Oh, wow. It's all happened here. Let's take a look on the replay. So, well, we knew it'd be troublesome into the chicane. Lewandowski, and the Honda just gets it a bit wrong across the curves. Drifts out wide, tries to floor it to bring the front end back round, but then he's on to the racing line. And that was it. All over for the Ukraine driver.
Yeah, that was a bit of a... Oh, and another one. Maroney spun off the track. That was a bit of a tap on the side. No big crash here, but he's going to be absolutely furious. He's been running very well in the points, and that's going to put a big dent in the gap between himself and Scott Smith.
Definitely. He's someone right down through the order, all the way to 23rd. It's a danger if, you have one incident here. So we see Shirkov just heading past Darius Neidhart there. and that's got himself back up. He's up into 5th, trying to recover after that poor start, but right now with 5 minutes to the 25 completed nearly, it's Redford from Gill, great drive from the AM driver. 3rd overall right now, Scott Smith, fellow AM driver, 2nd in AM. He's in 4th, Shirkov, Nightheart, Briggs, Kindness, 3rd in AM, 8th overall, Hutchinson, and top 10 rounded up by AM driver, Rafizea for Audi. And, well, I mean, great thing to see. We've got all 3 manufacturers on the podium right now overall. As we've just seen Nightheart, and here's Briggs. He's going to be desperate to try and recover in some way, shape or form surely here.
Yeah, no, he's got his work cut out for him, and Nightheart's also one of the more difficult drivers to pass, but he's not going to have to worry about Nightheart. He's got Kindness behind him, piling on the pressure as they go onto the main straight. You can just see that purple car of Kindness sitting right in the rear, the Honda looking mighty fierce. And I must say, dream race for David Gill, Scott Smith and Kindness alike. All of them in the top 3 places. David Gill fighting for a podium position here, and not fighting with pro drivers behind him. He's got Scott Smith to deal with. So it's going to be very interesting to see these two battle out. Scott trying to go towards the inside. Is he going to find the gap? Gill runs wide. Smith runs wide.
Yeah, well, there was Gill running wide there, and just managed to keep hold of that position. Tell you what, he's holding on to it by the skin of his teeth right now, and just gives himself a little bit of breathing space. But I'll say breathing space, it's only 3 temps separating these two right now, and they need to be careful because the cars looming in the background. See pro drivers Shirkov and Nightheart. They're not far behind, and they will start to close up onto them the more these two keep battling.
Yeah, no, both Gill Smith and Shirkov and Nightheart need to realize they're keeping one another up as Scott Smith trying to look for an opportunity there for Duffer's Dip, not finding it. But you can see and another move up the inside. Is he going to get Gill wide?
Oh, they banged doors on the exit through Clark Corner, and now it's the drag race all the way down to Taylor's. Who's going to come out on top? You've got Smith in the Hyundai on the inside. Surely it's going to be the move done, but here comes Shirkov in the Hyundai. He can sense an opportunity, and Gill just on that wide line, able to pick up a little bit more traction and pull away from the clutches of the Russian. But we're right on board right now with the German Darius Neidhart, and we come down through turn 1, through Duffer's Dip, and you can see the slightly different lines, the amount of curves that the drivers are taking. You see Smith just, Gill just in the couple of cars ahead of us there, trying to have a bit of a look at the inside into Smith as we come across the chicane, and varying amounts of curb being taken. Gill just running a little bit wide, and this is going to allow Shirkov through. He's going to give it a good go, but somehow Gill holds on in that Honda. Audi even. There's Nightheart now. He's got himself boxed in as much as he got the good exit off the corner through Clark there, unable to make progress as he got Shirkov to the right of him. He got Gill in front of him and couldn't make any more further progression. As you see, Kindness just in the background getting past Briggs there, and he's going to have the inside line into turn 1 Duffer's Dip.
Yeah, a very, very clean move there from Kindness, pulling ahead of Briggs. Just wanted to mention that Gill needs to watch out. He's got a very wide line going into Clark, and that, of course, explains the very speedy exit. But the problem is it's leaving him very vulnerable to a dive up the inside. You can see there flashing lights from Shirkov. He knows that he's being held up here, and he's under immense pressure from Nightheart. I would not want to be in that 3-car sandwich. Although I'd say the Audi Hyundai sandwich with the Hyundai in the middle, it's a bit of a tough position for Shirkov, because if you step out of line and you don't get that move executed, you've got 4 cars behind you ready to pick up the pieces, and Gill picking up the pace. He's starting to gap Shirkov a bit. Shirkov very cognizant of Nightheart behind him, and they just look at their timing differences. 5th position, 6, 7, 8, 9, all within half a second one for another, exception being Briggs, but that's even still very close. So
I'll tell you what, Smith he's really managed to pull away. Now he's got himself into some fresh air, as we see Once again, Gill having to defend from the clutches of Sherkov, who just bumps into the back of him as they came round Clark. What's going to happen here? The flash of the lights once more from Sherkov, but he's unable to get through. Gill making that Audi RS3 about as wide as possible. Sherkov's trying to find a little bit of an edge up the inside. He just touches the rear three-quarter panel there of Gill, and they all come across the start-finish line and somehow remain as they are. But just in the background, Hutchinson looks like I think he's going to get past Briggs and Sherkov, having another look at the inside and later on to the brakes. Well, Sherkov, the last of the late breakers, into toughest dip. But look, but now we've got Gill trying to get the play straight back, but he needs to be careful because here comes Neidhart. They come, well, side by side through the chicane. Someone needs to yield, and it's Smith. So Gill even who gets it done, and Kindness nearly runs in the back of him because of it. And, well, Gill's losing a whole heap of places right now. That's Neidhart. He's off the track. It's all happening here, Johan.
We need to mark that one down. That was probably the replay of the season. 3 wide, and Hutchinson and Kindness just battling it out while overtaking Briggs. It always looked a bit like an IMSA race where you'd have the faster cars kind of battling it out, and then while they're overtaking the other cars, using them as strategic advantage. And that battle between Kindness and Hutchinson still going on as they, I think that might have been Walsh. They overtake. Oh!
Contact! Walsh on Gills, he's taken him out as well as he came back across the track. And Gill, it goes from bad to worse, and likewise for Briggs too. And hopefully there's no terminal damage for those two. Let's take a look at the replay. Walsh coming out of the pits, and this is the danger of the pit exit here. Because look, you come straight out onto the racing line, and then contact there from Briggs. And by that point, Walsh was just a passenger in that Honda Civic Type R.
I'm feeling a bit sorry for him because, I mean, you can't say he had a poor re-entry. At some point you need to rejoin the race, and with 30 cars on track, there's never going to be an ideal opportunity. These other drivers had to be aware of that driver coming in. Normally you have your crew chief or some kind of spotter just telling you, listen, car exiting the pits, and you become aware of it. But the problem was you had Kindness and Hutchinson battling it out. Behind them, Rafetta and Smart also in a bit of a battle. So yeah, they were already trying to push it one another as wide as possible, and poor Walsh just got caught up there.
He did indeed, and right now, well, Gill and Briggs down to 12th and 13th respectively. Gill was on for a podium finish overall, as we see Redford running it incredibly deep there. And that's allowed Smart just to get away a little bit. However, looking down in the background, Rigeri and Collishaw, they're having a good old battle, just like these two here. The Scott versus the Italian, and Collishaw just in the background sneaks it up the inside of Rigeri. He tries to keep in pace and keep in tow with those two in front of him, currently occupying 8th and 9th. Now, worth mentioning that 12th the grid for races formed up of the race result from race 1. However, the top 12 are inverted. So actually, as it stands at the moment, Gill, although he looks down and out, if he can hold on to that 12th place, he will in fact be starting on pole for race 2. But I mean, just looking at, you see on the timing tower right now on the left-hand side of the screen, just how many places people have gained or lost. Kieran Smart, what a drive from him, up 18 places. Yes, 1-8, you are seeing that correctly. The Scot, racing for Track Scotland in the Hyundai, great progress from him.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically pulling a Lewis Hamilton. He started from the pits and just climbed the order all the way, surviving all of the incidents you saw on track. So superb drive from him there. And I mean, if he's been performing like this, I would love to see what he's got in store for us in the second race. Rafetta just behind him. Just on his own, he's Smart kind of checked out in front of him. Collishaw in a very tough battle here with Rigeri. We saw them neck and neck last lap at the main straight, and Collishaw is feeling the pressure as Rigeri just pokes a nose on the inside. Is he going to get a gap? And you can see there, Collishaw running wide. Rigeri not really getting the exit he wanted. He got caught off at the apex by
Collishaw's in the pit. He's just headed into the pits. Is that potentially... No, because he'd have a drive-through, wouldn't he, if he incurred in penalty points? But something's happened to Collishaw there, and taking him right out of what was an absolutely epic fight.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened there. Normally when a driver pulls off like that, it's either equipment failure or something is wrong with your screens or glitching out. So the driver then pulling off to avoid any further trouble. Glashkov, I mean, it's just been a very rough race for him, all the way into 17th position. Definitely not how he saw his night going. And he's got Maroney for company, also a bit further down the order than we usually see. So yeah, Misery keeping Misery company, unfortunately, and going to be battling it out here in the tail end of the middle of the pack.
Oh, indeed, and the grid, well, it's down to the moment for race 2, really shaken up. It's like someone's taken like a pack of cars and just thrown them up in the air, and whatever they have landed is going to form the current race results. People out of place all over the field. Up in incidents, some through their own doing, some from just being innocent by there's the wrong moment at the wrong place at the wrong time. However, Scott Smith, he is leading, and with just over 15 minutes completed, 10 to go here at Knockhill in race 1. As we see Rigeri with Gill right behind. He's managed to get himself up a place into 11th. But your order right now is Redford. He is 5 seconds clear of Eatwell in second. The Scott Smith, the podium overall, first in AM. That could be a great result if he can pull that one off, as we see Gill just trying to find a way around the outside there of Rigeri. Going to struggle to get that down into Duffers Dip, and I'm not sure whether I just had some crashing locally. I'm not sure about that, but can we carry on? And Sherkov, he is in 4th. Darius Neidhart 5th. Kindness 2nd in AM, 6th overall. Hutchison the Smart 7th and 8th. Raffatea and Rigeri 3rd and 4th in 9th and 10th overall. There is your leader, Redford. Now this is where it's going to get, well, even more trickier potentially for him, as he's starting to come up onto 20th place. You can see him just in the foreground there. That is Gudici in the Audi. And, I mean, luckily the field is relatively spread out a little bit here, Johan. You can see from the track map in the top right corner of your screen, just where the cars all are out on track, you can see Redford just coming down Railway Straight into the final corner at Taylor's. But, I mean, this could potentially a bit of a part in the story, because we've still got, 8 minutes of racing still remaining here at Knockhill in race 1.
Yeah, normally we'd be done by now, but I'm actually liking this longer format, because now it's going to be tricky to see if the drivers are going to start getting trouble with lapped cars in their battles. We're seeing Redford kind of working through the tail end of the pack, but if he reaches the mid-pack, that could get a bit dangerous for him in the long run. And, ooh,
he's gone wide. A rare mistake from Redford there, just losing it across through the chicane on the bumps. He just gathers himself back up together and carries on from where he is. He has got plenty of time. He is 5.8 seconds clear of Eatwell in the Honda behind him in 2nd place right now. And wow, that was nearly a very, very scary moment there for Redford.
Yeah, I think he's going to be rethinking his approach for that corner. Wonderful close line there to the apex by Eatwell. And he's got some other lap. I'm not exactly sure which car's in front of him, but...
that is Jake Ward in the 15 Honda Civic Type R.
So Ward pulling off the line, giving Eatwell the opportunity to possibly catch up with Redford. But I don't know how Redford does it. He's back to 6.2 seconds on his gap. Hutchinson and Smart duking it out down the main straight. We've got Smart on the outside with the better line, and he's slightly ahead. Is he going to be able to pull ahead, or is Hutchinson going to stay behind? Hutchinson stays behind, doesn't want to contest that late on the brakes. Smart going to move up ahead of him into the last 7 minutes of the race. 6 minutes, sorry. 6 minutes of the race. And next up on the chopping block is going to be Kindness, but that will be a very tall ask for Smart. 4.2 seconds for him to close down. It's going to be really bringing out all of the flares for him to get up to that position. Hutchison looking a bit slower now that Sparks has gotten past him, so I think he's maybe just settling into position. Rafetta and Ruggeri down the main straight with Gill behind them as well. Gill in that 11th position, so they're looking good for the second race, but he's still going to give it his absolute all. Rafetta looking very solid in his current position, not feeling any pressure from Ruggeri, and Gill might be helping with that, just taking Ruggeri's attention off the car in front of him and focusing it on that Audi behind him.
Yes, indeed, and just see them come now down through Clark Corner, and well, you just see Redford just running it a bit wide. There's still a racing team, Audi RS3. These three Audis really just not able to, pull away so much. It all comes down to driver skill and just what they've got in bag in their setups, because evenly matched cars as much as they all are from different manufacturers. However, when you've got three cars from the same manufacturers, they're going to have exactly the same strengths and weaknesses for the same parts of the circuit.
Yeah, it's I think especially at Knockhill, it's a game of momentum. Who can get the cars just rolling through the corners at as constant a speed as possible, because it doesn't really help you stop your car dead at Taylor's, but then you need to utilize all of that straight line speed to really stay in line with your opponent. So handling is going to be incredibly important. We saw a car off track there. I'm not exactly sure who that was.
I think it might have been Lewandowski potentially off the track there. It's running a bit very wide, and maybe just trying to get out of the way of this battling group coming through. You see, just remaining, covering each other off right now, but back down through the field to the battle for 16th. Di Filippe's leading this three-car train. Then we've got Glashkov and Maroney. Maroney pulling alongside, having a bit of a look into turn one. Late onto the brakes, just almost loses the rear. Gets the car turned in and snatches the place from Glashkov there. An absolute epic move down into turn one.
That's the Maroney we know from the start of the season. He's, that was just incredible driving from the AM driver there.
It was indeed, as they come on to the... I tell you what, Maroney's not done with just the one place. He's now looking to sneak one off of his fellow countryman, Roberto Di Filippis, and that Audi getting a brilliant drive off the corner as they come onto the brakes. Glashkov having a bit of a look up the inside as well. Nearly made it 3-1 of Di Filippis. Gets completely mugged there and loses 2 places round Taylor's and has lost all momentum, where Glashkov snuck through as well and came across right onto the line that Di Filippis was looking to take.
That was almost looking like a crash. I think Glashkov just... He had the right idea in mind, but I think it went a bit different than he anticipated. So getting very close to a crash, but anticipating that extra momentum that he could gain by following behind Maroney. But Maroney now getting a bit of pressure from Glashkov, so he's going to have to fight for that position. But he definitely has the right idea, and he's just shown us how he's able to keep that momentum of the car through Clark. It's been one of the trickier corners for some of the drivers to keep the momentum of the car up. Taylor's as well, kind of one of those stop and go corners. And there you can see Glashkov a bit closer behind.
Can do indeed. I tell you what, we're pushing the replay now. We're on board with Glashkov. You see Maroney and Di Filippis right in front of us, and look at the lunge he made from by Maroney, nearly losing the rear himself on the entry into Taylor's. Trying to get it slowed up, but Di Filippis, well, he's going to feel well and truly mugged there by losing those 2 places into one corner, trying to keep out of trouble, and in doing so, create a whole world of pain right now as Maroney just kicking up a bit of dust on the exit there. Not long left in this race, around about a minute and a quarter left as we see Neidhart battling out with kindness. What can the Track Scotland driver do in that Honda Civic Type R? He knows time is running out right now. Not content with second in AM, 6th overall. He wants to get to 5th overall. Neidhart, of course, is a pro driver. You can see the banners across the top of their windscreens depicting as to which category they're from, either AM or pro. And right now, Nightheart is feeling the pressure from the AM driver, Kindness, who might be AM by name, but he's certainly not being AM by nature as he moves around, completely filling the wing mirrors of that Audi RS3 in front of him. But look, Smart isn't far behind either in that Hyundai. We're going to have around about, just looking at where Redford is right now, this is the final lap. 1 lap to go. What can these two do? How are they going to end up? What can Smart even get involved? Time is running out. It's tipping down as well. Of Kindness just maybe just forced the move there. And Nightheart loses not 1, but 2 places to Kindness and Smart.
That was a bit of a rough one. You saw Nightheart defending aggressively down the main straight, almost weaving. I'm not exactly sure. We're taking the checkered flag, and Redford is going to take first position. Eatwell well earned second, and Smith is coming. Ooh, nearly gets that car suspension is not straight.
No, that is Ganelli of GRT Esports in the Audi RS3 that's crabbing horrifically as we come across the line. Well, somewhere Kindness has lost 2 places to Smart, and Nightheart has managed to squeeze back through past him. Well, it's all happened in these closing stages. Smith, a great win for him in and third on the podium overall. An absolutely stunning result from the Scot. As you see, Glashkov coming across the line with Mark Redford. Who's got that one? Redford just about squeezes that one home. 900ths of a second is all that separated those two at the line. And wow. Time to take a deep, deep breath. Let's take you through your classified results here for race 1 very shortly. There we go. There they are through. Will Redford taking the win, nearly 7 seconds clear of Eatwell in second place. As we mentioned, Scott Smith, winner in AM, and on the podium overall, a great result for the Scots in Scotland. Sherkov up to 4th. Smart 5th, Nightheart 6th. In the end, Kindness just drops a couple of places on the final lap there into 7th, but 2nd in AM. Hutchison 8th, Raffatea 9th and 3rd in AM, and then Ruggieri rounding out your top 10. Then we've got Gill, Briggs, Maroney, Mark Redford, Glashkov. He's well down. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on in race 2. Maniti, De Filipis, Manners. Let's move through. That takes you up to 18th place. Very shortly. There we go. They've got Morrison in 90th. Gudici takes you up to 20th place. Then Collishaw, Wyness, Clist, Ward, Lewandowski. These are all the drivers are laps down. Obviously, Lewandowski 2 laps down. Ganelli 2 laps down as well. Then sort of into the retirements. Coleman in 27th, lost 4 laps ago. Devery, the American, 6 laps ago. Steve Brown in 29th, lost him 11 laps ago. And then Jay Walsh, where we saw what happened to him in that big incident. Rounds out you feel in 30th for the last of the retirements. Now, drivers just heading into a bit of a warm-up period between the 2 races. We're just going to head to a quick commercial break. We'll see you on the other side for race 2 from Knockhill. We return here and just coming up to halfway through the warm-up session. The driver's taking a well-needed break as I think, well, I don't know about your blood pressure, Johan, but mine must be right through the roof right now with all that excitement and action and drama out on track in race 1.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a race that delivered. I'm a bit calm at the moment. I'm a bit dumbfounded at what Canelli's car was doing near the end of the race. So he had a bit of a crash on the last lap. We saw him in the background as Scott Smith was crossing the line. Massive congratulations as well on the podium as an AM driver. That's definitely something that you can frame and put up on your wall. But yeah, Ganelli was coming across the start-finish line with his car sideways going in a straight line forwards. I don't know what kind of damage you need to do to your suspension that it's so out of line that it's in line again. But yeah, he had a bit of a strange car coming across the line.
It did indeed. He's clearly taken a big clout from somewhere and desperately trying to get it back across the line, and well, managed to do so in spectacular crabbing fashion. And not far off, of course, from race 2 now. I mean, yeah, and as we mentioned, the top 12 will be inverted. Obviously, the grid forming from the results from race 1. As I just mentioned, with this top 12 inverted, and normally that brings plenty of action for race 2.
Yeah, it's. I think one of the drivers hoping that action is not going to be as hectic up in the front is going to be David Gill. He showed a very good pace in the first race, unfortunately just in the wrong place at the wrong time. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's able to do in the second race. Of course, Briggs is going to be sitting on that front row with him as well. I think he's going to be very happy for that opportunity at Redemption. Another little fun fact I just wanted to squeeze in there while we're waiting for the cars to finish warming up. You can see there on your screen Taylor's the hairpin at the end of the lap. If I read my maps correctly, the hairpin is just a few meters up to the north compared to the rest of the start-finish straight, if there's nothing weird going on with the map projection on Google Maps. So I think that's this is probably the race where the cars are the most northern, or as far up north as they've been in the current season.
I think, yeah, it is indeed, and I tell you what, it's definitely the most northern part of well, this series, and one of the most northern parts of any racetrack in iRacing. But let's just take you through your grid for race 2. Briggs is on pole with AM driver Gill in second place. There's an all-AM second row with Gary and Redford. Hutchinson, second of the pro drivers in terms of the grid. He's AM driver Kindness for company. Then it's Neidhart and Smart, Cherkov and Smith with Eatwell second place in race 1, 11th, and then Redford are winner in race 1, picking up that 12th place. Then it's as they finished in race 1, we were only in Redford. That's Mark Redford, Glashkov, Miniti, Di Felipe's Manners, Morrison and Gudici taking you up to 20th. And then we've got Collishaw, Wynest, Kliss, Jake Ward, who's well down from when we're normally expensive, Lewandowski. They'll be looking for a bit of redemption. Caught up in plenty of action in race 1 in 25th with Ganelli alongside for company. There's the Dutchman Coleman with American Jason Nevery on the last but one row of the grid, and the final row made up with Brown and Walsh. As here come the lights. Let's get ready for the action, the drama that's bound to bring him race 2. And a great start on the outside from Gill there. Those Audis absolutely flying as Redford and Rigeri come along through to join the ride as well. And an absolutely disappointing start from Briggs, the Honda. So Honda getting absolutely enveloped right now as Hutchinson looking to make a move up the inside. Kieran Smart's getting involved as well. It's that Hyundai trio right now. And it looks like they've all made it through relatively safely. Oh no, I say that, the commentators strikes Ganelli's off at the chicane and always going back onto the track and just about misses the Honda there of Brown. But they're all beginning the dogfight, the scrapping, down into Taylor's for the first time. Neidhart's up past Rigeri and Briggs. Oh no, and that's Eatwell. Eatwell's off into Taylor's. Something has happened to him. And it's all come apart for Eatwell as Redford. Will Redford, we see him trying to make progress. He's made up 2 places so far, looking up the inside. A fellow Hyundai of Smith, and he's just about going to get through. These two on the podium last time out in race 1. Smith, of course, the winner in AM, and that's Redford just through ahead of him. As we take a look at the replay here, Johan, this is what happened to Eatwell. Oh, wow, we knew it was going to be tight, and does he get a bump from behind, maybe? Oh, no, it's a slight turn in there. I'm not too sure. Was that Maroney, possibly, in the Audi?
That could well have been him. I'm not seeing Maroney too far up in the order, though. Might be just my...
11th, so, yeah, that would have been about right, because, of course, Redford started in 11th himself, so It could well have been him. As we see the drag race down to turn 1, starting off with Rigeri and Smart. They come onto the brakes, and it looks like Smart just not able to quite get past for now. Briggs has managed to get the move done on Rigeri. Currently, we're looking at a podium lockout for Audi overall, with Gill, Redford and Neidhart occupying those spots. The two AM drivers first and second overall, as we see Kindness just runs it out a bit wide there. Could it run through the chicane, and his Honda takes a trip through the gravel trap.
Yeah, that's opened up the door a bit for Scott Smith as he moves up into second position for the AM drivers, but Kindness is not going to let this go. He's trying for a bit of a wider line, and it's going to be all about the exit here. Runs very wide though, misses the apex by a car's length. He had to leave a bit of space for Scott Smith. And in the background there, Gudici, I think, Manners as well. So a bit of an episode.
Yes. Yeah, he ran incredibly well. He sort of drifted around Taylor's there, got it all out of shape, and that's cost him a few places. As I think, no, Redford just, no, we've got a big incident here. That's Smart, one of the drivers involved there. And I'm trying to spot who the other one is. I think Gary, yes, he's caught up in that as well. Something's happened down into Butchers. We'll see if we can take a, well, to use Cockney Rhymes, so we'll see if we can take a Butcher's hook.
So Rigeri out in front.
He's going to get contact, and that's what caused it. Oh, no. It all goes well. Redford, well, he will be breathing a big sigh of relief as it's all happening right pretty much at the end of his bonnet, and it could have been disastrous for a race 1 winner.
Yeah, it could have been very bad. I think it was Hutchinson as well being caught up in the action. Bit of a back of the mid-pack battle going on here. We've got winners, De Filippes and Ward, all in close proximity to one another, and winners just leading them. Bit of a scramble there in the mid-pack up in front. That's Kolosho and Shirokov. And Shirokov is getting spun out to the side. Contact between him. That is sending Kuman out towards the tires. Not what he wanted, and he was kind of just a bystander in that.
Amazing, managed to keep it out of the tyre wall, and there was more action as well. They kind of looked to almost go 3 wide there, and somehow everyone keeps it just all in order as Rigeri, Coman. You see Kieran Smart looking to try and make up some more places in that Hyundai, looking for a brilliant undercut underneath the pair of them. Just about manages to get it alongside Coman, but now he's out of the slipstream range, and Coman fights back as they head down to turn 1, and Coman's gone from losing a place to now gaining one, and gets it past Rigeri. Wow, great action that we come to know and love from touring cars there, Johan.
Yeah, and I think this track is definitely one of the better ones, especially for us commentators. Lots of things to talk about, and Ward is going to go for a dive up the inside of Manners. Manners giving him a lot more space than he should have, almost going off track there, and that's going to be Ward moving up into 16th, but Manners still not out of the woods yet. He's got De Filippes right behind him, just 14th, separating the two drivers, and it's going to be going down the main straight. Of course, Manners outside of an effective drafting range, so De Filippes has a bit of an edge on him. He's going to be pulling close as we go to the end of the straight, not getting any kind of opportunity to pull alongside, so Manners with a bit of breathing room behind him. De Filippes, a slight bit of oversteer going into the corner, and that's cost him a bit of time as Kuman right behind him, and he's going to look at an opportunity through the chicane on the run down to Clark, and this might get very interesting as you can again see those cars just drifting out a bit on the rear end. Smart is coming up on the back of these cars. Rigeri under pressure now. Smart moving towards the inside for Taylor's. He's going to be passed well before Kuman once again on the inside of De Filippes through Taylor's, and now the run down towards Dufferston.
See Smart trying desperately to get his way up through the field there. See Redford talk about coming through the field, and wow, that's Scott Smith taking a bit of an excursion there across the curves and across the grass, holds on to that Hyundai Elantra and keeps it all together. Right, but right now, we're just coming up to 7 minutes completed in race 2. Your order is Gill, leaving overall, and also in a great result. If you can hold on to that one, that'd be spectacular. Nightheart, second overall, leading in Pro. Rafatea is last place on the podium overall, and second in Then we've got Redford coming through the field. You can see him in the background there, with Briggs just behind, then Smith, third in then Kindness, Maroney, Hutchinson and Glashkov making up your top 10. Basically, pretty much in that midfield, you can throw a blanket over him right now as we see our lead group come through the chicane, and Nightheart is really pushing. You can see with the aggressive line he was taking across the curbs there, really just launching the Audi RS3 right across them in his attempts to try and hunt down Gill, but that gap is just maintaining at 1.2 seconds right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a very long 17 minutes for Gill. And Nightheart trying to chip away at that gap that Gill's got every single lap as we go along. Of course, that Audi looking very good in the .exe livery. He's going to be absolutely gunning it. And you can see they're just how close they are. Just a 100th of a second separating Gill and Nightheart. And up in 4th position, well, Redford looking towards the inside of Rafeta, not finding an opportunity through Butchers yet, and he's going to go through the chicane on the rear of that gold Audi. And the Hyundai very capable in the hands of Redford. It's just sitting there, almost it almost looks like they're bump drafting like they do in NASCAR. Of course, Redford just looking for opportunity, going towards the outside for Taylor. Is he going to go for the switchback? Yes, he does position himself quite nicely. He doesn't get as fast of an exit as he was hoping for. Of course, that uphill hairpin proving a bit more difficult on exit. Redford now towards the inside here of Duffus Dip. He's got a very good opportunity to be late on the brakes, and he is still side by side, going through the corners. Rafeta trying to hold on to the position. Unfortunately, Redford's plays through that corner just a bit faster, and he's going to have to fall back into 4th position.
Was that Clist, I think, maybe just off in the
You're
background?
right.
Yeah, it was, yes. Just well, I think he lost it coming out of someone between McIntyre and Butchers. Not sure what's happened to him. Damage to the front right corner of that Honda Civic Type R right now, and not the most enjoyable 2 races here for the Brits. 27th right now, as we just see just a bit further up the field, it's Briggs trying to defend off the advances, follow Hyundai driver Scott Smith, who's trying desperately to get himself back up through the field. Currently he's already up 4 places. Briggs down 4 himself as he defends that inside line, and Smith looks as the door was left open. They're going to look to be side by side through the chicane. Smith just backs out of it a little bit there. And wow, you see just running wide Kindness in the background there in the Honda. Just taking a bit of the gravel trap. He was carrying so much speed and momentum. So had to get out of it a little bit as he closed right onto the back of these 2. They come down to Kate Taylor's. Smith looks to the inside. He's not going to get the move done there. It's too far back, but he's doing his best just to distract Briggs right now and try and force some sort of mistake from him.
Yeah, it's very close between the 2 of them. 3/10 between Scott Smith and Briggs in front of him. Not getting the opportunity to really pull alongside him. Kindness behind them. One thing I wanted to note, squaring off that hairpin, that Taylor's corner, I'm not exactly sure if that's helping him too much on exit, with that uphill being a bit tough on acceleration, but Smith right here on the rear of Briggs, that number 66, very inviting in front of him just to get past. So now through the railway straight, and he is looking like he's got a bit of speed behind him, the draft being very effective, so he's going to try and gun it under the brakes. He's very late. He's gotten to the apex, and now let's see on exit, a bit of a switchback there from Briggs. Is he going to have enough speed? Not at the moment. He's got Kindness behind him, so he needs to be very careful and think about what he does next. Is he going to be trying to dive up the inside? Yes, he does. Unfortunately, Smith closing the door there, and that's one massive slide from Briggs.
But you saw Smith in the foreground there just running wide, and Briggs coming right across the front of Kindness there, and it's just about managed to avoid any form of contact. But you can definitely tell that Kindness is so much so the aggressor in this situation over these two in front of him, and Briggs definitely feeling the pressure from first Smith, and now he's got a mirror full of Kindness. He looks at, he's going to take next. Oh, we've got a big incident there. That's Komanov, that's Kolashur as well as followed in. It looks like he's had his own separate incident. Something's happened there. That's just Adam McIntyre, isn't it? Before Butchers, I think. No, or yeah, I'm trying to spot which part of the circuit. Yes, it is.
That almost looks like they're going into the chicane.
It is. So Kolashur runs wide. Oh, and then they make contact on the exit of the chicane. That's what sent Coman flying, and wow, Kolashur arrives backwards into the entire wall. Right now we head back up to the front as Redford is close right into the back of Darius Neidhart. This for the lead in pro, but only second overall, and Redford just heads up the inside, making it look so easy where people have had to really get their elbows out. And now Redford begins the hunt of Gill, our leader overall, the leader in AM. Can he hold on? We've got around about 12 minutes to find out here in race 2 at Knockhill of round 6 of the Apex Racing League British Touring Car Britain Series. I tell you what, that'd be spectacular if we can have an AM win overall. We've already had one finish on the podium here tonight. Can they go for the win? We'll find out whether Gill can hold on. But I tell you what, Redford, he's just walked straight up to the back of him, and you get the feeling that this is going to be a move down into the final corner. Taylor's and Gill not really defending there. Redford just having it all his own way, nice and easy, job done. Resumes taking the lead here in race 2.
Redford just really gives us the definition of the word alien when you're referring to the faster drivers. Gill is actually going to fight this though. He's looking towards the inside. Is he going to try and be late on the brakes? Unfortunately, Redford is just a bit later as well. And some very, very stellar driving there from Redford. Gill now under pressure from Neidhart behind him. He's fighting for all that he's worth. He's smelled the blood. I think he's a bit demoralized by having lost that position, and that is Cliff off the track as again. Unfortunately, a bit of a rough race for him. Gill still in front of Neidhart with a few tenths to spare, and he's just absolutely sweating bullets at the moment. Moving to the inside slightly to just indicate that he is going to be on the defense there. Neidhart a bit faster on the exit than him, but getting held up by Gill on exit. They're now drafting, Neidhart drafting behind Gill, and it almost looks like the Audi of Gill a bit faster down the main straight. Now down into Duffers Dip and looking very, very solid under pressure. I mean, you don't normally see a battle like this for the AM drivers, but Gill definitely showing his pace, definitely showing his worth here, and fighting for all that he can to get that second position.
He is indeed, and Gill just trying to hold off the resistance from Neidhart. You can see just trying to spot who that's the 155 there coming past, and well, this is where it's incredibly. No, sorry, it's 165. Apologies, but that's Ganelli, the GRT Esports Audi there. They were just coming past, and it's all happening right now. Scott Smith tries to find his way past Redford. This battle for second in and fourth overall, and Smith, here he comes alongside, dragging that Hyundai right up close and personal. Can he get a move done into turn 1? Wow, the Italian Redford holds on right around the outside. They're still side by side. They haven't even banged doors yet, but they do, and Smith just gets the way through. And Briggs, he's on the lights instantly. He knows he's under pressure from Kindness, tucks up right behind him. And look at just the whole train of cars now as they come. There's only 2 corners left in this lap as they round Clark Curve. Who's going to get the best drag? Surely we're going to see an overtake down into Taylor's, and Kindness, he's going to be squeezed to the outside there by Briggs. He knows exactly what he's up to and just covers off that move there, just likewise in the background there. You saw Hutchinson just cover off the move from Glashkov. That over third and So 4th, 5th in Pro right now, but here comes Kindness, utilising all that straight line speed that Honda City Type R has. He makes a lunge to the inside, he bounces across the curb and holds on to the car, and somehow Briggs holds on as well, despite taking to the AstroTurf. Oh wow, that would have been a spectacular way to take the position. Kindness is, well, he's taking all of the curbs and so more. He's trying to make that Honda take off right now, and looks like he's finally gonna get, oh, just a bit of contact on exit, and Briggs sent running wide and across the track, and he's lost a whole heap of time there, Johan.
Yeah, I must say, earlier we mentioned cars being the furthest north they've been this season. I think Kindness just gave a whole new meaning to the word, just launching that car off the curbs. But the battle's still going on for Glashkov and Maroney behind him. Maroney trying to pick a side, Glashkov not allowing him, weaving all over the track, so going towards the outside. And they've got Mark Redford for company as well. I'm not exactly sure which car that is towards the outside, but the battle is going to go on. So Maroney just stuck in that sandwich right there, and Glashkov, bit of breathing room as Redford starts zeroing in on Maroney behind him. Almost feels like Maroney is just bouncing these cars back and forth. The gap always a bit bigger depending on which corner. But now going into Taylor's, and this is the one where everything is made or broken during a lap. And Maroney, superb exit there. Unfortunately slowed down by Glashkov in front of him. He's got the draft now, so he's got a bit of pace. And not exactly enough to get an overlap. So Glashkov again safe for the start of the next lap. Hutchinson in front of them as well. You can see the gaps to between 5 and 6, 6 and 7, 7 and 8, all the way down to 10th position. Everything below a second between these drivers, so very close. You need to be very careful for not making a mistake, because otherwise you're going to lose out big time. And,
talking about making a progress, look, Kindness, he's having a right good go at this one. Not content with making up the place already, he's going for it once more as he tries to find a way past the Italian in the Audi, Refetier, and just harder onto the brakes. Refetier just runs a bit deep there. Can this give Kindness the opportunity? He's starting to pull alongside inch by inch, but he has to tuck back in behind the Audi. And then he looks to the inside. He's going to make the lunge into turn 1, into Duffer's dip. They come down through it, and he's got the move done in spectacular fashion. And Hutchinson could well follow him through, but can't quite get his car alongside the Audi far enough.
I don't know how late you can be in the on the brakes in that corner, but Kindness just took it to a whole new level there, just absolutely shooting past.
Oh, that's clashed off. He's him and Maroney were a bit ambitious being side by side through Clark Curve there, and well, I think maybe a bit of a bump and a bit of door rubbing there as you see Mark Redford trying to be opportunistic and looking for the switch back. I'm not sure, it doesn't look like he's going to get that one done, but wow, Maroney getting his elbows out there to get his way past Christian Glashkov, who's not exactly any mug himself.
Yeah, he really took control of that opportunity that Glashkov gave him there. And, well, I say gave him, of course, running side by side through Clark is not the smartest thing ever. And Glashkov, unfortunately, being second in that position. But it is looking very spicy for the end of the race. 4 minutes, 20 seconds left in the race, and it's essentially going to be, let's just say 4 or 5 laps of racing left. Scott Smith looking very good in the 4th position at the moment, and look at that, top 6, and 4 of those being AM drivers, of course top 2 positions being pros. And just look at this string of cars, kind of with an angry mob behind him and with good reason. Kind of just absolutely fighting for that 5th position, but now he's going to have to try and keep it. Next car, Scott's just a bit further up the road, a few seconds up the road, but yeah, Walsh just getting out of the way, and Ward moving on through as they go through Butchers. A bit of a tricky situation there. Kindness now moving his way through lapped traffic, and it's not the situation I think some of the other drivers want to be in.
Redford just running in a bit too deep there, distracted by Jay Walsh, who's just keeping well out of the way, trying to cause as little harm as possible by sticking to the right-hand side of the track. And Hutchinson looks like he's going to pick the Italian's pocket and get the move done into Taylor's. He just squeezes him out wide. But look, here comes his teammate Maroney. There's almost a bit of blue on blue there, but Maroney's got the run. Has he got the legs into turn one? Can he get the move done? And Glashov's come along as well, as they're still side by side through Dupper's dip into McIntyre, and Maroney reclaims the place that he previously had, but he runs a bit wide, and that's going to allow Hutchinson back. Oh gosh, he caught the curb, and he's come. Well, there's cars everywhere, all over the track as well. Oh, Walsh is into Glashkov too there. A big incident here at the chicane in race 2.
Yeah, a spot nearly got collected there as well, but massive crash through the chicane. Oh man, that's just a bit of a rough one to see.
Well, just take a replay of it. Well, it was still reminiscent of what Kindness did in, earlier into turn 1, and Glashov's just got so airborne. He was out of control, no fault of his own. Walsh tried to stay out of trouble from the car on the inside of the chicane, and then in doing so hit Glashkov on the exit. But what does that all mean? Rafatea, he's got through cleanly. Hutchinson's got through cleanly. Mark Redford's climbed some more places. He's up into 8th. Wyness, he's up into 9th overall. 13 places climbed so far this race. Your highest riser here in race 2 at Knockhill, as we've got, I don't know where the time has quite gone, a minute and a half left on the clock in race 2. Redford leads from Nightheart. Gill, leader in AM, another AM in the podiums overall. That, if I'd be spectacular to see, though, with 4 AMs behind him, with Smith, Kindness and Rafatea, that's looking likely. Hutchinson, 3rd in pro, but 7th overall. They've got Mark Redford, Wyness and Briggs rounding out your top 10, as we just see Kieran Smart trying to get inside that top 10 position. He's got Briggs just ahead of him, and here comes the drag race down to Duffer's Dip. Who will come out on top? The source of so much action and excitement and overtakes here at Knockhill. And look, Smart's just got it done. The Scot up inside the top 10. And Briggs, well, there was nothing he could do about the advances there of Smart. He was coming through like a freight train.
Yeah, it's, Smart just finding heap loads of pace. And Redford is going to take, I think that was the white flag.
Yeah,
so
it was,
yeah. So last lap of racing here, and Redford 9 seconds ahead of Nightheart. He's just in an absolute league of his own, but things looking good for him. And then behind them, Gill, Smith, Kindness, and Rafeta all battling for the top 6 position, so doing very well. Nightheart, of course, here, 2nd position. He's done very well during the race, but there, right behind him, Gill is looming in the background, and he's going to be absolutely gunning it for that final position.
That's Wyness, he's off track, and he's lost a couple of places, actually. Redford and Smart just heading through. Sorry, boys, it was just Smart heading through. Get himself over place, but Will Redford's going to take the race victory in race 2 to make it 2 from 2 here at Knockhill in round 6 of the championship. That's what's going to happen between Nightheart and Gill. They're going to remain as they were. Gill taking the victory overall. Gill taking the victory in AM, and also another AM on the podium overall. Spectacular stuff. Smith, Kindness, Rafatea, Hutchinson come across the line. Mark Redford, he's going to be good enough for 8. Kieran Smart, a great recovery from him, 9th. Stuart Wyness up 12 places. I just said your highest riser. Redford himself, who's up 11, and a great drive from him, as we see Rigeri just coming out the final corner. Got Di Felipe's just in front of him, and so what? Johan, there's a lot of bruised and battered cars out there. We knew that people would get their elbows out and that they would be sharpened to the max, but even so, well, I'm almost out of breath. It feels like I've done, a marathon, vocally during that race. What an absolute barnstormer here in the championship.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be one for the books. And if your drivers like Gill or Smith, this is one you want to kind of put up on the wall, keep a record of, because the AM drivers just absolutely brought it tonight, and I must say they can just be very proud. Will Redford, of course, with an absolutely dominating drive in both races, showing that he's the man with the pace. Neidhart also some superb driving, and a redemption for Gill on the last race. So he's going to be absolutely over the moon with these results.
He is indeed, and we're just waiting for, I think, the last few drivers to come across the line before we bring you the classified results. There you go. Will Redford making 2 wins from 2 here. Round 6 of the championship from Knockhill. Darius Neidhart, he picked up 2nd place, and Gill, winner in AM. Another AM on the podiums overall. A great result from him, and as you said, Johan, definitely a redemption from race 1. Scott Smith, 2nd in AM, 4th overall, with Kindness rounding out the AM podium in 5th. Well, the AM driver, Rafter, he was in 6th, with Hutchison 3rd in Pro, but 7th overall. That just shows what a crazy race that this has been. Mark Redford, he was 8th. Smart, 9th. And Wyness rounding out your top 10 and making it 6 AMs inside the top 10 in race 2. Then we've got Briggs and Sherkov, Maniti, Di Felippis, Ruggieri, Morrison, Lewandowski, Collishaw and Ward taking up to your top 20. And then it was Brown, Gudici, Maroney, Glashkov, 2 laps down. Obviously after having taken to the pits. Coleman, Klist also 2 laps down. Eatwell, disappointing round for him. He's going to be devastated with that one. 27th in race 2 and 3 laps down after trips to the pit lane. Ganelli also 3 laps down. Likewise, Jay Walsh. Of course, we saw more caught up in that big incident. And then we lost on lap 14. Jason Nevery, he rounds out our field. But we can have a chat to him now. Obviously, he had a very, very eventful race 1 and race 2, winning in AM. On the podium overall, we're joined now by David Gill. Well, that's got to feel like redemption for race 1.
Oh, I'll tell you what, it's redemption for a whole season. I've loved it.
I mean, just talk us through, well, first of all, race 1. I mean, you were looking, incredibly strong there, good qualifying as well. And then it just, well, you seemed to get caught a bit offline, and then it just all seemed to go from bad to worse, unfortunately for you.
Yeah, that was exactly what happened in race 1. I just got offline at the beginning of the lap, and then once I was offline, I just hemorrhaged places all the way back, and then got tangled up with an incident with Jay, unfortunately. But no malice. It was just an honest mistake, and yeah, but it still put me in a really good position for race 2, which I was super grateful for, because I knew I had some good pace today, so it was really good.
I mean, just knowing what it was like in the midfield, it was so congested and, everyone had their elbows up. How much of a relief was it to be starting on the front row? And we know that the Audis are, probably the quickest of the starting of the 3 cars. And of course, then heading out into turn 1, you're ahead. Was that just like a massive weight off your shoulders gone?
Yeah, huge. I couldn't quite believe it, really. My starts have been quite mixed. So to be in the lead for turn 1 was a big relief. And then, as I said, I knew I had the pace, so then it was just a matter of trying to put some distance in before the fast guys got to me, and that was it, really. So just got my head down and got on with it.
Now, next time out, we head to Donington. A little bit more room to breathe, although it is the national circuit, the shorter of the 2. How are you feeling about that one?
I've no idea yet. We'll see. It'll be the first time that I've raced Donington properly in iRacing, so that'll be interesting. But I do like the circuit, so yeah, looking forward to it. And now, I mean, this has definitely given me a boost. I knew I've had pace, but I just haven't had the results at all this season. So yeah, super pleased going into that.
Definitely. I think everyone at home will be definitely cheering you on for that one. And before we let you go, if you've got anyone you want to give a shout out to at all?
Yeah, absolutely. All the guys part of Reckless Abandon. I know I'm sort of a bit of a loner in this series, but there's a team of guys out there that carry me along, which I really appreciate, and everyone else following along on the Facebook feed. I do really appreciate the support, and glad you enjoy it. Thanks very much.
Definitely, and congratulations to you. Obviously, with a win in AM and on the podium overall in race 2. That's David Gill of Reckless Abandon in the Audi RS3. Now, next up for yourself, Johan, we've got, quite possibly someone who's going to be probably one of the proudest fathers going within iRacing with his son well, in a class of his own up the front. We're joined by Mark Redford right now.
Hello.
Oh, welcome, Mark, and I must say the amount of speed that you've got in that household at the moment is just absolutely insane. But from your perspective, what was that race like for you, and that chaos of the first few laps in kind of the middle of the pack?
Yeah, it's always a bit mental, but I just tried to keep up with the other cars and make any passes when the opportunity arose, and try and stay out of trouble. And for a change, it worked. So I'm very pleased to have managed to finish both races and got into the top 10 in the second race. So that's really good for me. So the plan worked out well.
And I think you might have been very close to it. We had one of the drivers have a bit of a crash there going out of the chicane. Lots of drivers having to take evasive action. Were you close to that when that was happening? And anything in particular that went through your mind as you saw cars on the track?
Yeah, I was running kind of just outside the top 10, place 11, and I could keep up with them, but I couldn't really make a move. So I was kind of waiting for something to happen. And then there was two cars in front, two pairs of cars, both too wide each. And I thought something's going to happen here, and it did. And my instant reaction was to try to go to the right, and then a car spun in front of me, so I just hit the brakes as hard as I could and managed to avoid it and get through, and that put me up to 8th place, which was fantastic for me. So yeah, it was a case of hit the brakes and stay on the track and hope that I didn't get collected.
Some very good avoidance skills. And then I actually wanted to ask Mark, do you and Will sit in close proximity with your sims? And do you kind of relay information between one another? Or was it more a case of you just kind of focused on your own race and just keeping an eye out for everything that's in front of you?
Yeah, well, Will's just sat to my left here. So we race together. Sometimes we're in a Discord channel and we communicate, but when I get annoyed, I shout. So I think I don't want to distract him. So we weren't in the same Discord, so it's quite hard to hear each other with the headphones and so on. As for sharing setups, and so I tried Will's setup, but it was a bit too edgy for me, so I stuck with one that I knew that I was safe for driving.
And do you guys regularly practice together, or is it more a case of just working on your own time when you've got an opportunity for it?
Yeah, well, he's at college, I'm at work, so we practice when we can. Work on setups a bit together occasionally, try and help each other out.
And yeah, it's had great results throughout the season. I mean, today being an example of a very fast race, especially for Will. And then from your side, Mark, any shout-outs, people supporting both you and Will that you want to thank, or any sponsors?
Yeah, well, big shout to Will for doing so well in this championship. He's really showing his class, so I'm very proud of that. Big shout to Nest in the Woods, our sponsors, and a shout to Sally. I doubt whether she's watching this one, but I'm sure Luke will be. So Will's brother Luke, big shout to you. And yeah, thank you very much. Big shout to you guys for doing the brilliant broadcasts.
Always a pleasure, and thank you for that compliment, Mark. And good luck for Donington next time round. Yeah, it's going to be awesome to see you back on the track.
Oh, thanks, Johan.
Mark, great said, everyone.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, lined up next for you, you've got the other half for yourself, Johan. It's the other half of the Redfords. Making 2 wins from 2 here at Knockhill, and a repeat of what happened also last time we visited Knockhill as well. We're now joined by Will Redford.
Yeah, great round again. It's always nice getting the double and getting the pole as well. So I'm very happy with how it went. Bit unfortunate for my 2 championship rivals in that second race. I think they both made a mistake and ended up crashing in separate incidents. So shame to that. But at the end of the day, that's racing. I had an unlucky round at Alton Park, so unlucky. But you know, that's the way it goes.
And then, just an absolute dominating performance for the evening, just back-to-back wins. And I must say that that second race, it almost looked like he was just overtaking someone on the highway. as easy as it looked there, as you overtook Nightheart and Gill after that as well. Is Knockhill just one of the circuits that really agrees with you, or were you practicing very hard for this one coming in?
I haven't really done much practice. I did a few races here when the Fix Setup Championship was here a few weeks ago. And then I turned up tonight and did like an hour of practice before the race. But I think it's more when you have a big pace advantage on people, they don't really want to fight you because they know you're going to get by. So there's Darius and David in particular, they both let me by, which was a bit disappointing because I wanted a bit of a fight. But the other cars further back, they did give me a bit of a fight. So, you know, it just depends on the driver and how they're thinking at the time. They might just see the faster car and let them go, or they might, you know, give it a bit of a fight. But in Darius and David's case, they both let me go into the hairpin.
Yeah, and I mean, I must say though, you're probably one of the stronger guys when it comes to overtaking under pressure. I'm kind of not surprised that some of the guys might think, okay, wait, Will's behind me. He's going to be giving it his absolute all. Next up on the docket, we've got Donington National. A bit of an interesting circuit. I don't know how you feel about that first sector going into that dip in, I think it's turn number 4. How do you feel about Donington, and do you think it's going to be a bit of a challenge for you, or one that you're looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to Donington. It is one of my favourite tracks that I drive at, or that iRacing has and races go to. Last weekend, I was doing the Apex F3 race there, and that went pretty well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it again. The first sector might be a bit sketchy on cold tyres, especially going down the Craners. I don't know if it's flat out in these cars or not. I doubt it because of them being front wheel drive, it'll wash out a bit. But again, yeah, it's a great track, so it should be good fun.
And then, of course, we've got the last 2 rounds up in front of us, and tonight is definitely going to help you in terms of the points. Are you keeping the championship points in your mind, or is it something that you're kind of just going to look at afterwards and say, okay, yeah, I gave it my all?
You know, it's always in the back of your head. Going into this round, when you take into account the drop scores, I was leading by, I think, 15 points, 13 points, something like that. But you couldn't see that in the leaderboard unless you counted up with the drop score. So after this round, I think I'll be a bit further ahead. So I know I've got it in the bag unless I make a big mistake and I don't know, crash in one of the races. But yeah, it's always there in the back of your head, but it's not really such big. There's no real pressure there, I feel like, at least for me as a driver.
Yeah, it's I mean, on track you also just look very cool, calm, and collected. But yeah, awesome stuff for you this evening. And then from your side, any supporters or sponsors that you want to thank, people that are just supporting you from the other side of the internet?
Yeah, of course, you know, as always, shout out to you guys for doing the broadcast. Shout out to my dad, of course. He finished pretty well in the second race tonight. And my brother Luke and my mum, I don't know if they're both watching, but they might be. And of course, shout out to both mine and Mark's sponsors, Nest in the Woods.
Awesome stuff. Thank you, Will, and good luck for Donington next time round. And also looking forward to seeing both you and your father on the track.
Thank you.
That's Will Redford, everyone.
Yeah, if you want to check us out on social media, you can do so by heading across to our Twitter is at Apex Racing TV. Facebook is facebook.com/Apex Racing TV. And Instagram, well, that's Apex Racing TV. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give the video a like if you've enjoyed tonight's action, which has definitely delivered on excitement once again. And coming up on the channel tomorrow evening at 9 PM, it's the Radical Racing Challenge. It's round 9 from the Hockenheim Ring. And then on Saturday night, it's Formula Renault 3.5. They are at Road America for Road 9 as well. And on Sunday night, it's the usual doubleheader of SRF Weekend Warriors. I'll be back in the commentary booth for that one as we head to Interlagos, another series that definitely does not fail to deliver on excitement. And then that's at 7:45 GMT, and then at 9:15 PM GMT, it's IGP Fun F3. They head to the Nürburgring, so that's going to be one to watch out for. And then, of course, Monday night at 8 PM GMT, it is the Apex Racing League Mazda Cup. from Silverstone. And, well, what can we say? Yet again, in round 6, we've had excitement. We've had thrills, spills, and drama. But as it comes to a bit of an end, it's going to be interesting. I'm Tim Cox. I was joined by Johan Karinas. We had Samuli Kuma on production. And we'll all see you in a week's time as we head into the penultimate round at Donington.